Now, some of you guys will remember, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, that here on the John Campea Show, I told you that I had heard from two independent sources, one of which is one of the guys who told me about Ben Affleck leaving Batman a few years ago, which of course nobody believed, but turned out to be true. Informed me that Kathleen Kennedy, the head and president of Lucasfilm, her time there is over, that the decision has already been made, that she is gone. Now, when they will announce that, we said is a little bit up in the air. It could be, early in the new year, or what I said on the show was maybe more likely very, very quickly after the release of Indiana Jones, at the time just known as Indiana Jones 5. Now, what is it? Dial of Destiny? Dial of Destiny. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. All right. Well, now apparently there are new things coming out that seem to back that up. There is a news report going around that we can bring that up here now, Jonathan, that not only has the decision been made for Kathleen Kennedy to depart Lucasfilm, but they've already agreed upon a severance package and everything. Now, this is coming to us from a producer. Says this new rumor comes to us from Bionic Woman and Sleeper Cell producer Kamran Pasha on the Valiant Renegade YouTube channel. And basically it's this. He said, Pasha first reveals that this is not firsthand information, but again, this is all right in line with what I was telling you guys a couple of weeks ago. Pasha first reveals that this is not firsthand information, but information that he received from a trusted source. He says, I do not have direct firsthand knowledge. I have not seen the documents involved. I can only relay what this person has conveyed to me and what claims they have. He went on to detail that the information, apparently Kathleen Kennedy has reached a severance settlement with Disney. She has reached an agreement with Disney according to this source, and he gave me specific information as to what this severance package agreement was. And they go on to say in the story that it's going to be immediately after Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Now, this again is just, the only reason I bring this up is because this falls exactly in line with what I told you guys a couple of weeks ago was happening over there at Disney. And it looks more and more now like the writing is on the wall. Her time's up. Now the speculation is going to start beginning about, when exactly does she step away? Who will be the ideal replacement to step in and fill the shoes at Lucasfilm? Will it be somebody we know? Will it be somebody who we have no idea who they are? They're just a brilliant person. We don't know. But with this, I now think, by the way, the report also goes on to say that things like Variety and Hollywood Reporter are also in the know about this. They have this information. But apparently they were given the information by Disney, and Disney confirmed the information under the condition that they hold off on reporting it until a certain time that they're ready to make a big press release. So apparently this is all there. Now it's just a matter of when they're going to make it official and drop the news. All right. Two individual things start to happen then here. Number one, we reflect back on the legacy of Kathleen Kennedy being there. And then number two, we start to look forward about who is going to be the next one in the chair. Who's going to be the next one to take over Lucasfilm? Not considering how toxic the fandom of Star Wars can be, not necessarily the enviable chair that maybe it was 6 or 7 years ago. That's still being said. I think when we look back at the legacy of Kathleen Kennedy, it's going to be a mixed bag. On the one hand, she was kind of steering the ship during the most divisive time of Star Wars fandom. How much she deserves the blame for that is up for debate. Maybe a lot, maybe a little, whatever. But that'll be a part of it. However, she was also overseeing it when it cranked out the most profitable Star Wars films of all time, at least in terms of box office. Well, how many of the films hit $1 billion? 4 of the films hit $1 billion. Only one of her feature films did not. She was in charge when beloved shows such as Mandalorian got developed. She was the one, again, all credit where it's due. She was the one who came up with the idea to pair Jon Favreau with Dave Filoni and said, I think the two of you together are going to be able to really shape this Mandalorian story out. And the rest is history. It's a beloved show. She was at the helm when Andor, I think the best Star Wars show ever to be, came out. Of course, she also oversaw the sequel trilogy, which had absolutely no plan. We got things like Obi-Wan and things like that didn't work out so well. So I think her legacies there is going to be a mixed bag. And now I think she's going to be able to get back to doing what she maybe is one of the best in history to ever do, just be a movie producer. She's one of the best that's ever done it, and God bless her, she gets onto that. But then the question becomes, who's next? Who steps in? Jon Favreau is a big name that comes up. He's kind of overseeing a section of the Disney Plus, not all of it. He had nothing to do with Andor, of course, or some of the animated things. Dave Filoni is a name a lot of people like, although he knows so little about live action production that it seems a very short-sighted pick to me. Maybe most likely somebody that we've never heard of, but somebody that internally that the people at Disney know is a brilliant mind, and they'll make them in charge of that, and they'll empower the creatives. Who knows? We want to thank a sponsor of this video, MasterClass. MasterClass offers classes on a wide variety of topics, all taught by world-class instructors at the very top of their fields. Each class is broken out into individual video lessons, usually around 10 minutes long. And MasterClass is completely accessible on your phone, the web, smart TV, and available via audio mode to listen to classes on the go. They have over 2,500 video lessons from over 180 of today's most brilliant minds. They're all available anytime, anywhere on iOS, Android, desktop, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, and Roku. Now, obviously around here on the John Campea Show, we love our movies, so why not learn filmmaking from Jodie Foster, or maybe directing from Ron Howard himself, or the great Neil Gaiman doing his masterclass on the art of storytelling. And you guys have heard me talk about my favorite masterclass, Business Strategy and Leadership by Big Papa Iger himself, Bob Iger, the new and returning CEO of Disney. Guys, I highly recommend that you check it out. This holiday, give the perfect gift of an annual Masterclass membership and get one free. Go to masterclass.com/Campea today. That's masterclass.com/Campea. Terms apply. Anyway, Rob, it's looking more and more that what we reported a couple weeks ago, this is what's happening. The ball's in motion. What's the legacy of Kathleen Kennedy's leadership of Lucasfilm? And I mean, right now it's really early to do this, but any initial picks off the top of your head as who could take over the chair?
Well, I mean, look, you can't. So she was hired. She's had a decade at the head of Lucasfilm. She was hired in 2012. She's been there for 10 years. That's respectable for any length of time for any CEO at any business. And like you said, they made 5 feature films under her tenure, unless you include the original animated Clone Wars feature, but I don't really do that. But she, in terms of billion-dollar grossers, she's batting 80%. I mean, that's pretty good.
That's a better average than Kevin Feige, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable what she was able to do. Now, here's the thing. What fandom doesn't realize is the reality of the world is not what fans believe it to be. And the fact is, you look at her in terms of box office, just money-wise, whether they were creatively successful or not, whether we as fans like them, really doesn't matter. They made 5 features and 4 of them made over $1 billion. That's a win. It doesn't matter what you think.
By the way, one of them, the highest grossing film domestically of all time, Star Wars, The Force Awakens.
Yeah, Force Awakens. And by the way, made with people like Lawrence Kasdan that she's worked with all the way back to Raiders of the Lost Ark. So there's a huge legacy. Whether you liked it or not, you've got to give her credit for the business part of it. And the fact is, you know, she did get people like Filoni, brought him from animation into live action. That might never have happened without her there. You know, there's no guarantees to say that a guy like Dave Filoni would have made that transition, much less create The Mandalorian, which, lest we forget, everybody loves. Mm-hmm. And we're going into season 3, and we got Andor. Yeah, there were missteps. I mean, she also had to deal with what Disney wanted. People always forget that Kathleen Kennedy did not have carte blanche to do whatever she wanted.
Well, but when something goes bad, Rob, it's her fault. When something goes good, she had nothing to do with it, obviously.
You know, because the Force is female. By the way, those were Nike T-shirts, everybody. They were from Nike. But I think that, look, she produced my childhood. I'm a huge fan of Kathleen Kennedy. Everything from E.T., her 40 years ago, her first full producer credit, to things like Seabiscuit. She's worked with every major director. I think she leaves a great legacy behind. I've always been a big fan of hers. And I think, 10 years, man, what a thankless position she's been in the whole time. She's been embattled. She's had to deal with things that didn't work out. She made some ballsy choices. Lord and Miller, that was a ballsy choice. It might not have worked out, but her instincts were ballsy to do what they did. This was not her fault that it didn't work out between Lord Miller and her or the studio. It was a great choice. I thought she did a lot of really interesting stuff. We're getting a new Indiana Jones movie. That could very well be a great film. And if she goes out on a high note, good for her.
Yeah.
As far as who is going to replace her, bro, I have no idea. I can't even begin. Like, first of all, who would want that job? I mean, literally, who would want that job? You would have to pay me, even if somebody came to me, Rob, I'd think it'd be a dream job, right? I'd be like,
Yeah, no thanks, pass.
Yeah, even I'm like, well, no. I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Because guys like Christopher McQuarrie and other directors even coming over the years and saying, yeah, I'll never direct a Star Wars film.
Exactly.
I mean, just look at the fandom. Why would I want to go into a house like that? Like, so it's going to be.
Although if you
tough.
had somebody with just a man, a woman, whoever, if somebody had big, not
Moxie.
cojones, whatever, somebody could actually get in there, and if they had a vision.
Can I throw in a dark horse? You mentioned the name already. Lawrence Kasdan. I'm just going to throw that out there as a dark horse, just as a dark horse right now. Anyway, Chris, let's go over to you here. I mean, there's a lot to unpack here. Your thoughts on, there are more stories now coming out. It looks like what we said before is true. It looks like she's done here. What's the fallout?
Well, I mean, she's had such an illustrious career. Say what you will about her and the work she's done. In her years as, an executive producer, she's produced over 70 films, 120 Academy Award nominations throughout those films, 25 wins. Like, she is an icon. She is a legend. You might always not agree with every single choice she's made. But again, as we talk about so much on this show, we're not in the room where these decisions happen. We don't know all the minutia that's going on behind the scenes. So I think she's had a tremendous, tremendous career. And like you guys said, a very thankless career and a very thankless position that I really kind of pity the fool who steps into this moment, because this has been such a thankless fandom position as of late. Star Wars fans feel very, very entitled. And I know I'm guilty of this too with my fandom.
Me too, we all
I
do.
want my
Yep.
fandom to be this certain way, and I would have done it this way. And that's so easy to say, right? Execution is a lot more difficult than just saying what you want and what you hope for. So whoever is in this position next, I hope they just have real thick skin and are ready to do what needs to be done for the good of the IP.
All right, guys, question is for you. More and more reports are coming out here that it looks like this is a done deal. Kathleen Kennedy is moving on. How do you feel about that? And measure up the wins, the losses. Her legacy in Hollywood is forever secure. Steven Spielberg calls her the greatest producer of all time. I think he's qualified to give that opinion. But her legacy at Lucasfilm specifically may be a little bit mixed. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.